Michael in Florida has a question about Pascal's wager. And since I've done a 30-minute video deconstructing it piece by piece and just did a 3-hour debate on it a couple of weeks ago, what's your question, Michael? How can we help on Pascal's wager?
How you guys doing? So yeah, I know we are short on time, so I don't want to like rush, but I'll try to be quick.
Sure.
Nonetheless, I was raised Christian, Seventh-day Adventist specifically, and the thing is, a few years ago, I came to this point where I realized that I don't know how much my faith is based upon true personal conviction, as opposed to me just believing what I was taught to believe in and just sort of like running off the social conditioning of that. And the thing is, lately I've been listening to a lot more, I suppose like atheist or skeptical YouTubers. For instance, like Aaron Ra or Genetically Modified Skeptic and whatnot. And I guess I sort of just been trying to address each of the things that I had previously held as what's it called? Some of like the more solid things to.
As a tenet of faith, as an article of faith or a position. So here's the question. Let's assume that there's a God out there and that there's a heaven and a hell, but we don't know which one it is. Should we work to try to get into the best heaven or the worst hell, or avoid the worst hell?
Well, I would assume the best heaven,
Okay. But what if you seek the best heaven, but it's not the one that's real? And in fact, the second best heaven is the one that's real, or the fourth best heaven is the one that's real. And you lose the only heaven that there is because you decided you wanted to go for one without considering what evidence there was for which one was correct.
Okay, so you mean like heavens as in like heaven as depicted by various religions or even various denominations of religion?
Correct.
Is that what you mean?
If you try to get into what you see as the best heaven, but that heaven isn't real, and in doing so, you've cost yourself the one real heaven that's out there.
So like if I try to get into like it's the Seventh-day Adventist heaven, but the Catholic.
Seventh-day Adventist, Muslim, Baptist, Pentecostal, whatever. If I have no way of telling which one of them is right, and if I just seek the best heaven, well, maybe there's a heaven that appeals to me, but it's not real. Like maybe I'd like to live forever in Elysian fields. Maybe I would like to be in a heaven where I'm my own God. Or something close to that, a la Mormonism, as opposed to one where I just show up every day and praise the master of the universe. Maybe that's boring as fuck for me. And so I'm going to seek out the Mormon heaven where I get to be a God. But what if neither the Mormon heaven nor the Baptist heaven or the Seventh-day Adventist heaven is correct, and there's actually a God out there who just values being decent and using your brain, and for that, you get an autonomous existence. And now you lose that if you are gullible enough to buy into some other religion.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean by that. All right. I guess the whole because I'm just trying to gain different people's perspectives on different things. So with that question that you asked me, what if there's like if I pick the wrong heaven, essentially. That's something I've always wrestled with, because it's like, how do I know that the interpretation of the Bible that I was taught is incorrect, or even that the Bible is the correct interpretation of reality?
Yeah. So wouldn't it be better to just say, I don't know? And if there is a God, and if there is a God and the God is truly good, wouldn't any God that is good look at you and say, wow, this person was faced with a difficult decision where there wasn't evidence, and I didn't do anything to provide them any evidence about which one was correct. And instead of falling into a pit of fallacies, or instead of suggesting that they need to follow this one God because it's, more monstrous or the consequences are worse, they said, hey, I don't have enough information to believe any of this. I'm just going to try and live the best life I can. If there was a God that was good and just, how could that God punish that person?
Right. I see what you mean. If I'm not mistaken, you were a former theist yourself, right?
Yeah, I was Southern Baptist with some Pentecostal leanings at different times, but mostly Southern Baptist. Yeah.
Okay. So I was just curious then, when you deconverted, I'm not sure if you had to deal with this in a grand way yourself, but with like the thoughts of like, I'm skeptical on various doctrines I was given through the faith, but what if I'm wrong and then there actually was, it's like, were you able to just like dispel those sort of feelings via like, I don't know, prolonged, skeptical trains of thought?
I want to make sure Jim chimes in on this, but I will say two quick things. And that is, I didn't spend any time worrying about, like, how much time have you spent worrying if you're going to Muslim hell, or if you're going to a specific version of some Hindu hell, or if you're going to a Catholic hell? Do you spend a lot of time worrying about those, or do you primarily worry about the hell that you were taught?
The one I was taught.
Yeah, me too. And when I realized that, it all melted away, because I realized I'm only afraid of something. I don't have any good reason. It would be like somebody said, hey, there's an evil spirit living in your house, and you have to do these 3 things every day, or that evil spirit will really make your life miserable. If I have no reason to believe that it's true, and I live my life trying to appease the evil spirit in my house, haven't I wasted my life, or a portion of it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Jim?
Yeah. So Pascal's wager kind of also asks you to calculate the odds on something we can't calculate the odds for. Right?
Okay.
And which God? Right? Humans have thousands of them. Mm-hmm. Which one? It goes back to what Matt was saying about pick your heaven or pick your hell that you want to avoid, right? But just because you pick a hell to avoid and a heaven to try for doesn't mean they're from the same God, right? Because they're your opinion of what's better and what's worse. So Pascal's wager just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it also assumes that whatever God you believe in can't figure out, you're just going through the motions, and then you don't actually believe in that God, that you're treating that God like a vending machine, right? And do you think any God wants to be thought of as a vending machine, except maybe the God of vending machines?
Yeah, so you're probably not going to be able to fool a God, and you don't have any information about a God. If there was any God that was good and just, it wouldn't punish you for failing to make the correct decision in the absence of good evidence. And if there was any God that loved you and was good and just, that God would have provided sufficient evidence for you to reach a conclusion. And the fact that that hasn't happened makes me seriously doubt that any such being exists. At a minimum, even if it does exist, I have no capacity and no evidence to make up a decision about it, to conclude whether or not it exists. And so I'm going to keep living my life as if it doesn't.
Okay.
But I got to get on to a couple other callers. I appreciate it, Michael. Thanks so much for calling in and think on that. Give us a call back and let us know what you think.